الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. رب زدني علما رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير. ثم أما بعد والحمد لله. Inshallah, we'll carry on from where we stopped last week in our Islamic Studies, and that is that we finished the Sunan and the makruhat and the things that nullify and break one's wudu. And today is the next topic, which is ghusl. What is ghusl and how does it work? First of all, ghusl means to wash, of course, and the washing that we're referring to here is the ritual purification washing that a person does in order to remove filth from a person's body, whether that be filth that is physical or that is sort of the najasat, which is the physical najasat, which is impurity on the person's body, or to take oneself out of a state of ritual impurity. So someone may not have any dirt in their body, but they may still need a ghusl for other reasons. Inshallah, we're about to discuss that bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. Similarly, with the case for wudu, as you've seen, that a person may not have any physical filth on their arm or on their face, but they may still require to do wudu, be required to do wudu in order for it to attain a ritual state of purity, tahara. So, first of all, the purificatory bath, the ghusl of purification. The following three actions are what makes ghusl. They are the fara'id and the integrals of ghusl. Ghusl is made up of three actions. What are they? We're about to read them now. The first and foremost obligation of ghusl is to rinse the entire mouth once. If somebody does full ghusl but does not put water in their mouth, does not rinse their mouth, then their ghusl is not complete. So the first fard and the first integral of ghusl is to rinse the entire mouth at least once. The second fard of ghusl is to rinse the nose up to the bone. So the soft part of the nose should be washed with water. To rinse the nose once is the second fard of ghusl. And the third fard of ghusl is to wash the rest of the body with undue difficulty, whatever is possible, to wash the rest of the body, whatever is possible to reach from the body without any undue difficulty or hardship. For the entire body once. So to put water on the whole body once after rinsing the mouth and rinsing the nose, and then also washing the rest of the body once is the fard amount, the minimal amount by which ghusl can be completed. There is more to ghusl. There are sunan of ghusl. We'll come to that. But this is the basic skeleton of ghusl. Just like we saw the basic skeleton of wudu, it was the four actions. The four actions of wudu was wash face, wash arms, quarter of head wipe, and to wash both the feet. All once each. That was the skeleton of wudu. The skeleton and the basic integrals of ghusl is to rinse the mouth, to rinse the nose, and to wash the whole body, all of them once at least. Now we come to the next level. What is the sunan? What are the emphasized and important sunnahs of ghusl which a person must maintain unless they have a valid excuse or so on and so forth? So sunnah mu'akkada is that sunnah which is very emphasized. The Prophet ﷺ said, he encouraged it, he barely ever left it out, if ever at all. And so the sunan of ghusl are, first of all, niyyah. Just like we've seen wudu, the intention is from the sunan, according to Hanafi school of law, is the intention is sunnah. So first, before you start anything else in ghusl, according to the sunan, is intention. I make intention, you make intention that, oh Allah, I'm about to perform ghusl in order for myself to become purified. You don't have to utter it. Rather, you say it in your mind, and in your heart, because an-niyyah mahalluha al-qalb. The place of the niyyah is the heart, and the mind doesn't necessarily have to be uttered. So therefore, that is that on the onset, along with mentioning the name of Allah, which is done before revealing one's nakedness, before saying Bismillah ar-Rahman, making the intention, and then when you're taking your clothes off, you make the intention for ghusl. That's the first sunnah. The second sunnah of ghusl is to wash both of your hands, not your arms, your hands, including your wrists. Okay, this is from the sunan of ghusl. So even before we said rinsing your mouth, right? That was the fard. Fard is rinsing your mouth, rinsing your nose, and the rest of the body. So in this order, you do intention first, then you wash both your hands. You rinse your hands first. Then after that, after you wash your hands, okay, then you should ensure that there is no dirt or filth remaining on any of the private parts. To make sure of it, to wash them once again as a precautionary measure before you start the rest of your ghusl is from the sunan of ghusl. That's number 3. Number 4 is to wash off any extra filth from the body. So for example, you may be clean for the most part of your body, but you might have a small piece of blood somewhere, or something else somewhere, some dirt somewhere on your body. You may need to rub that off, scrub that off. That's also from the sunan of ghusl. To do dalk and to rub it off and to wash it off is from the sunan of ghusl. So that's number 4. Number 5 is to perform the full wudu. So in order now, the sunan of ghusl, is intention first, then washing both the hands including the wrist, making sure that the front and the back, your private parts are completely clean and no dirt there. So this is a precautionary washing. That's number 3. Number 4, to wash off any extra filth from the body anywhere else. And then number 5 is to perform the full wudu. The full wudu is rinsing your mouth, rinsing your nose, washing your face, washing your arms, wiping your head, washing your feet, and so on. All of the normal wudu, you do it once. Then after that, you do the rest of the remaining body, which is to wash your whole body from the right once, from the right thrice, from the left thrice, and to wash from the top of your head at least another 3 times. This is all from the sunan of ghusl. So of course, the benefit of knowing the fara'id and sunan separately is that we know first of all what's most important. We know the order of priority. Also, we know that if for any emergency requirement you may need to leave something out in ghusl, then you know which ones are sunnah, which ones are fard. So for example, if you're in a very big rush for ghusl, you're about to miss Salatul Fajr or something like that, and you have to do ghusl, then you can quickly go to the shower without having to do wudu, without having to do all the other extra, precaution, without the sunan. You go straight into the bathroom, you rinse your mouth quickly, rinse your nose quickly, and you wash your whole body once. That should take maybe 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. That's it, you're done. You put some sort of a bathrobe on, you can put some sort of headgear on, and khalas, you can pray your salah. So leaving salah, even if for accidental situations, even if there's only 10 minutes left, you can still, if you have access to a bathroom, you can still, actually, technically speaking, you can still catch it, because it's that simple. So that's the benefit of knowing what's fard, what's sunnah. Then the benefit of knowing the sunnah is how to maintain highest ajr, not to leave the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and so on. So we should never emphasize sunan regularly, consecutively, without any excuse. Now we come to the types of ghusl, meaning what are the hukum shar'i, like the ghusl. Now we've understood what are the fara'id inside ghusl, what are the sunan inside ghusl. Now the ghusl in its totality can sometimes be fard, can sometimes be wajib, can sometimes be sunnah. So what is the legal hukum, the hukum shar'i of ghusl? It differs from time to time. Ghusl, of course, generally we know to be clean and pure and to maintain hygiene is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, but ghusl itself can be fard sometimes. So when is it fard? Ghusl becomes fard upon a baligh and aqil. So baligh, a person who's reached puberty, a Muslim who's reached age of puberty, and also in the state of mental awareness. Okay, it becomes fard for them if there is emission of semen, which is mani, and of course semen is understood, that leaves its normal place from inside the body with pleasure, even if it's without pleasure, for any reason such as a wet dream or by looking at something with lust or desire. So the exit of semen would require for ghusl to become fard. Now some people have a misunderstanding, maybe it's only due to intercourse. No, if there is semen leaving the body, then the ghusl becomes fard, whether with or without shahwa, with or without desire. This is the first situation where ghusl may become fard. The second situation in which the ghusl may become fard is in the case of intimacy between a husband and the wife, or so the exact wording is the disappearance of the head of the penis into vagina or the anus of a living human being then this would also, it is instantaneously, regardless of how long or etc. It doesn't matter. When that happens, even if it's just once, then the ghusl is automatically required. It becomes fard. And regardless of whether a person, whether there is semen or otherwise, if that happens, as described here, I will not repeat it again, inshallah, you'll understand, all adults. So therefore, that's when the second situation, when ghusl becomes fard. Number 3, the third situation in which ghusl is fard is when the menstruation or postnatal bleeding for women ends. So hayd is the menstruation, a monthly bleeding, and postnatal bleeding is of course the bleeding that happens after the delivery of a child, which can go up to 40 days. When that period finishes, when a woman's period, the monthly period and postnatal bleeding finishes, then ghusl now becomes fard for her. Even though she may feel like she's clean, she's probably had a shower recently before that, but when that actually ends, for her to become into a ritual state of purity, she must do a fard ghusl to cleanse herself, to purify herself, so that she has access to ibadah, like salat, like masjid, like touching the mushaf, like Quran, and so on and so forth. So these are the 3 situations in which ghusl becomes fard. Ghusl becomes wajib. So fard and wajib is slightly different in the Hanafi school of law. So wajib is just below fard, but it's also mandatory. The reason why it's not fard is because the evidence behind it is somewhat different compared to the evidence behind the fard, but it's both mandatory and wajib. So mandatory and wajib is ghusl is mandatory and wajib for the person who becomes Muslim while in a state of major ritual impurity. Although the sound opinion is that the bath obligatory is fard because they are in a state of ritual impurity. For someone who becomes Muslim, yes, it is from the Sunnah, it is from the tradition. It would be wajib, wallahu alam, for them to also, when they become Muslim, if they're of course in a state of ritual impurity, they should, it's fard. But if they are not in a state of ritual impurity, then they should still have a ghusl, they still have a shower, still have a cleanse themselves. And this is evident from the story of Sayyidina Umar and etc. when he went to see his sister and so on and so forth. So this is there as well. Number 3, when is ghusl nafal? Now nafal, like we said before many times, nafal is a spectrum. In it is sunnah. In it is sunnah, in it is mustahab, and in it is nafal, and it is mandub. It's sort of synonymous in that way. Sunnah غير مؤكدة, non-emphasized sunnah, mustahab, nafal, mandub, sort of somewhat in the same kind of region in terms of how much weight they hold and how important it is. So when is recommended? First and foremost is of course for the Jum'ah prayer. To have a ghusl before the Salat al-Jum'ah on Friday is a sunnah and it's a nafal. It's categorized as a nafal here. The 2 Eid prayers, of the day of the 2 Eids, entering in the state of ihram. Before you do ihram, it's not fard for you to do ghusl, but it is nafal. They should do ghusl before you go into the state of ihram. The day of Arafah, for the person who is in Arafah. For that person, it is a nafal. That is for those who on pilgrimage to be performed after midday zawal. Also for the first 4 cases above, ghusl is actually an emphasized sunnah, not merely recommended. So even though the author of the book, now this is the beauty and the importance of having a matan and a sharh. So the author of the book, Imam Shurm Bulali, is put it into the category of nafal. But we've said before at the beginning, remember when we started studying reading this book, one of the best things about it is the footnote. So it's saying according to the broader comparison to the remaining texts in the Hanafi school of law, it would not just be merely a nafal, rather it would be an emphasized sunnah for the first 4 things which are listed, namely the Friday prayer, the 2 Eid prayers, as well as the entering into state of ritual into ihram. These would all make this would be sunnah mu'akkada, as well as the day of Arafah for the one person who's in Arafah. I got a bit scared, I think, for someone showing blank here. Okay, entering another nafal situation. Now this is not sunnah mu'akkada, this is nafal. When you go into Makkah for whatever reason, when you go into Makkah to do a nafal or ghusl is also nafal. Entering into Medina is also from the adab, purification, to go into the Haram al-Madani to do a ghusl. Visiting the Prophet ﷺ, again out of adab, out of being in a state of cleanliness and so on and so forth, is also from the nawafil. Now ghusl, so we've understood now when is ghusl fard, we've understood when is ghusl optional. Now we'll understand when is ghusl not required, though some may think it is. The ghusl is not necessary after any of the following: the exit of madhi or wadi, which is, these are two types of fluid, and I'll explain what they are. 92. Madhi is a type of fluid which is known as the pre-sexual fluid, is defined as a thin and a clear fluid that exists when one is aroused, yet not as thick as semen. And wadi is a thick, murky white fluid that often exits after urination. After urination, there may be something that continues to flow, which is not urine. So both of these, madhi or wadi, pre-sexual fluid or post-urinal fluid, if you like, they do not require for you to do a ghusl, rather they require for us to do wudu. And of course, we've explained if it's actual semen, then you'd require to be ghusl. It would require, it would be fard. Waking up, now this is, so the first situation is with the exit of madhi or wadi. Number two is if a person wakes up and they remember having a wet dream, but they don't find any wetness, even if it's a woman. So a person has a very explicit dream, but they don't see any wetness. So therefore, nothing actually happened. There's no exit of semen, so therefore they do not have to do. It's not wajib and it's not required for them to do ghusl. Another situation where some people may doubt, do I need to do ghusl or not, is when it comes to foreplay between husband and wife, foreplay, etc. And so on. This would not require, unless it meets the previous condition, for there to be a ghusl. That's khalas. That takes us into the end of the section of ghusl. It's a short section, but it's to the point, and it's precise and concise. The next is dry ablution. Do you have any questions for ghusl so far? Okay, if you do at the end, you can ask me, inshallah. Go for it.
I heard talk somebody was saying, I've not heard this, but they've evidenced it. Like sometimes when you're having the Hanafi, when you're having the ghusl, you cover yourself, covering them.
As in covering your body even though you're in the bathroom?
Yeah, I heard this.
I have never heard of this actually.
It's like, maybe they're coming from the traditional longi, in the pool.
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps, but I was challenging. Where did you get that from?
Perhaps it's the practice of some like ulama salihin. There is something called tajriba, like experience and recommendation of scholars. Like I know that there are certain scholars, like not from a Sharia perspective, but from an asceticism, sort of spirituality perspective, they may say that you shouldn't look at your private part. So to avoid that, in that sense, but in terms of the fiqh of it, I haven't come across anything. Allahu A'lam, there may be something, but I haven't come across anything.
On that note, then you just touched upon the second question, which is after wudu, or the ghusl, that if somebody accidentally touches their private part, does that break wudu?
No. Touching a person's private part does not break your wudu, according to the Hanafi school of law. I think there might be opinions regarding it in other schools of law. I believe so, there is, but in the Hanafi school it does not. We've already studied what breaks your wudu and what breaks your ghusl, and those are not touching it is not one of them. That doesn't mean, of course, as you know, it doesn't mean that you should, but it's just like technically and legally understanding what are the consequences.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not exactly related to ghusl, but let's say you worked out, you went to the gym or something, and you sweat a lot. At what point are you required to? At what point does it break your wudu if you had wudu before?
Never. It doesn't actually break, even if you sweat a lot, even if you stink a lot, it doesn't technically break your wudu. But having said that, general ghusl of Friday is sunnat mu'akkada. So once a week shower is emphasized sunnah. It would be even more so for a person who is stinking and disturbing other people with their stench. So, but once a week is sunnat mu'akkada. It's an emphasized sunnah, yeah. But you see in that, you might be thinking for us who live in the city, that's a bit strange perhaps, or maybe it's not enough. But look, if you think about how Islam is for everybody, what about those who are in the desert, never have access to water? Some of them have to go without showering for weeks, and yet they're sweating, they're in the desert, they have to do hard work and etc. So, Islam is for everybody. Of course, where you can and when you can, you should be as clean as possible. Tuhur shatrul iman, Allah loves beauty, you should be fragrant, the Prophet needs to apply fragrance, and attar needs to be clean and as much as possible. But for those who can't as well, it's not a requirement, but it's a sunnah mu'akkada on a Friday, and of course the other days that we said, and it's fard if X, Y, and Z happens, as we've explained as well before.
Actually, I also have another question.
Yeah.
So nowadays, everyone has, many people have access to shower, right?
Mhm.
And we know that actually taking a shower wastes a lot of water.
Mhm.
Let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yep.
Is there any ruling or something related to, maybe because I've seen
That is a very good question.
I've seen a friend that his shower head doesn't work, so he just uses
A bucket.
a bucket, and that's how he takes a shower.
That is a very good question. Khalas, I'm gonna have to double check on that one, because in having a shower every day, is it israf? Allahu alam, perhaps there's some discussion on that.
Is there on this? I read that the Prophet ﷺ used to have a bucket, and that was the shower. Like we're using the bucket, and it's enough water to do the ghusl.
Yeah.
Rather than, and also the scrubbing, is that part of the ghusl?
It's not, as we've seen, it's not scrubbing,
So the scrubbing is not part
but
of
it is. This is all from the, you could say, from the mustahabbat, things that are liked because it makes you more clean. It removes the dirt. All of this is encouraged through other evidences, indirect or direct evidences. Those should be as clean as possible. Remove dirt. Take care of hygiene. Hygiene is definitely. That would be definitely from the mustahabbat. But in terms of things which are emphasized, sunnah and fard, we've explained here. But I think I find it interesting that masala I just asked about, which is would having a regular shower, everyday shower, is that considered to be israf? And then one may come back with the counter question to say that, where there is an access to enough water, where you're able to afford the bill, where it's helping you to remain more focused, more spiritual in your ibadah, makes you feel more comfortable, wipes your stresses away. There might be like a discussion on both sides, but I think it'll be an interesting factor to look up. I'll have a look at it, inshallah. And see what there is to say, inshallah. The Tayammum chapter is quite long, so inshallah we'll leave for next week. There's only a few of us. We'll carry on inshallah next time Tayammum, and then we'll do Mas'al Khufayn. Inshallah we'll keep it short and simple for today. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallahumma ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.